I'm the Executive Director of the Denver Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. And we just wanted to thank all of you who are here, our colleagues, our partners, and others. We are joined here today by council members who have long advocated for this project. We are joined here by other advocates, our RTD representative on the area. We are joined by community members, most importantly. We are joined by the Colorado Department of Transportation, who is a critical partner in funding. And we have people who are super excited about this project as much as we are. And so we just wanted to say thank you for joining us today. You know, Colfax is a corridor that has existed in Denver and has brought people to where they need to go since the 1800s. And as we continue to grow Colfax, and as we continue to move more car-centric community and a car-centric design in the 50s and 40s and others, you saw us continue to build a roadway that also continued to make it challenging for us from a safety perspective and others as we thought about how we continue to move cars and vehicles through this corridor. Well, what you've seen us do is change and evolve and continue to grow about how we think about a complete street, how we create safety and elements for everyone as they enjoy this street, as they enjoy the community that it binds together and the businesses that run alongside it. So when we talked about Colfax, just in 2020, we started on improvements in this corridor. From Irving all the way down to Sheridan, you started to see us making improvements that did a few things. They started changing the signal light timing on our signals to adjust for how people could move through this corridor, reducing speeds and such. You saw us starting to make changes in regards to putting in pedestrian crossings so that the commuters and the people who are walking and on the street have the opportunity to cross safely. You saw us starting to change the timing of those signals that gave pedestrians more time to cross in front of cars. When you started putting these elements together, we started having dramatic impacts in regards to safety. And in fact, since we finished those improvements, you saw fatalities decrease by 71% in this corridor. And our 71%, that is an extraordinary number. Serious bodily injuries went down by 50-some%. We're seeing major impacts with just those improvements alone. But as we know, there's more to be done. And that's what we're here today to talk about. We're here today to talk about the continued improvements and how we make this a safe and slow and enjoyable corridor for everyone. And I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Johnson to talk to us a little bit about all of that.
Really excited to launch this project today for what will be 4 major improvements we'll see along the West Colfax corridor. I am just the opening act for President Torres, who has really done the work to actually mobilize community leadership and advocacy around this. We're really grateful for the way in which community members raised their voices and drove the design of this project. So the 4 major improvements you'll see here will be first, now all the way from Irving to Sheridan, all of West Colfax will have safe crossing intersections. That means we will now have the ability to have a median, sort of a safe passage for pedestrians that are crossing. We'll be able to have signal. We'll be able to add the ability to have walk options through here. So either you'll have a lighted intersection that has a safe passage, or on non-lighted intersections will now have medians. In addition, at those locations, we will also avoid the accidents and the risks that have come from competing left-hand turns. So the medians now that will come out here will prevent left-hand turns in these non-signalized intersections, which means we prevent accidents, potential injuries in these locations as well. In addition, we want to make boarding and using the bus much easier. So you'll see these bulb outs, which will make it easier for buses to pull out of the street, right up to the sidewalk where people can be waiting safely, board the bus quickly, and get back out onto Colfax without slowing traffic. And then finally, you'll notice it's sort of a warm day out here on Colfax. We are worried about what could be heat islands out here on the west side of Colfax. And so in addition, we're excited to be able to announce that we'll be adding greenery across these medians down Colfax. So we both have safe places for folks to be able to pass and stand, and also the ability to add more and more greenery, which both increases the beauty of the site, but also helps us prevent some of the heat increases that we are worried about. So we think this all together is going to be a major win for the west side of the city. Major improvement on safety, major improvement on accessibility, and major improvement on bus access and transit. So incredibly grateful for the team that's made this possible. Really grateful for Council President Torres' leadership, who's been pushing for and advocating for this ever since the 2017 bond. And I am delighted to introduce her, your Council President, David Torres.
Good afternoon, good warm afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So this project says everything about the story of West Denver, because while we are getting incredible improvements It has come through community advocacy, our neighborhoods banding together and making sure that West Denver is delivered a project that we gave input on, that we were promised, and that we want to see done for the future generations of this neighborhood. So I've lived here for more than 30 years. This is the part of town that I've grown up in, that my parents and my grandparents raised their families in. And we can testify to the incredible impacts of traffic deaths along Colfax, along Federal, that can only be improved because we build a different street, because we build a different environment. And that's exactly what's happening here. And this was the vision of the city and the community back in 2017 when this project was envisioned. And so we are realizing that, we are making sure that that happens, and I am so proud of the ways in which all of our city has come together to make sure that this happens. So these islands provide people on foot with safe places to stand, to cross, reduces the left-hand turns, as the mayor said. And why are we concerned about people crisscrossing? Because we have kids going to school on the other side of Colfax from where they live. We have our Jewish community going to practice their faith, going to their schools on these sides, and folks frequenting businesses on both sides of this corridor, and they have been putting their lives at risk every time they try to do that. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, for the work that's come into this. I particularly want to thank the West Area Advocacy Group. So these leaders came together after developing the West Area Plan, which set forth the vision for West Denver, which includes green infrastructure, reducing our heat island effect, increasing our tree canopy, and making all of our streets safer to cross and for all of our residents to live in. So I want to thank all of them because they banded together. We heard from residents from Sun Valley, from Villa Park, from Farnham's about this project and wanting to make sure that it saw full fruition. So I thank them incredibly, so much. I also want to thank Dottie and our leadership and our mayor because they heard those calls for full project development and really responded to them, and I want to thank all of them as well. And I will call back to former Mayor Bill Vidal, who was the prior Director of Public Works, who reminds me every time I see a construction zone and I get frustrated by traffic, that work is jobs, that work is future safety for the residents of our city. And for the crisscrossers of those corridors, for our kids and for future generations. So I ask all of our residents, I know Colfax is going to be a construction zone for many months, and we've got to see through that to the benefits at the end of that work. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Mayor and Director of Dottie, Amy. Absolutely. And I'd love to welcome up Jessica Mickelblatt.
And it's weather like this that lets us start construction. So we love warm weather, we can get things done. And it's through a project like this that we can really partner with Dottie and our other partners to save lives on our roadway network. We're committed, CDOT and Dottie together, to reducing the number of fatalities and serious injuries we have on our networks. And we have very aggressive targets to achieve over the next year toward reducing fatalities and serious injuries. This project helps us move toward that Vision Zero goal. And as mentioned before, breaking ground on a project like this is a big milestone. We are so thankful for the work of the planners initially who took time to put money and thought into the project, to the engineering team who designed it and came out to visit the project area to make sure that mobility was best served for those with mobility needs. We're thankful for our construction teams and the work that they're going to do. And please drive safe and be patient, as mentioned in the construction zone. So this project will make a difference. This project was partially made possible through Safer Main Streets funding. CDOT, in partnership with Denver Regional Council of Governments, or Dr. COG, launched the Safer Main Streets program in 2020 during the height of COVID. Safer Main Streets started out with a call to local government agencies like Dottie in the metro area to submit their best and most innovative solutions that would reduce fatalities and serious injuries, support all modes of travel, and improve access for mobility for residents of all ages, incomes, and abilities. Recognizing the potential of this program to make a tangible difference in safety, CDOT and Dr. COG developed a rigorous application process for Safer Main Street funding. Denver submitted for and was successful in being awarded $6.8 million from our program in Safer Main Streets, one of the largest amounts awarded. Yeah. So through the success of Safer Main Streets, this project is also being made possible. We're really excited to stand here today in partnership with Dottie and kick off this really exciting project. Congratulations to Dottie on this milestone, and thank you for inviting us to be here today. And here's to the ribbon cutting that will be in the future. I would like to pass it off to Jill Locantori with the Denver Streets Partnership.
We are a coalition of community groups advocating for people-friendly streets here in Denver. I am just thrilled to be here to celebrate this important day for Colfax, which personally is one of my favorite streets in Denver. When writing for Streets Blog Denver, Dave Sachs described Colfax as the most democratic street in Denver. It's on Colfax where people from all different backgrounds come together to go to school or the library, to drink a toast at a dive bar, to eat tacos or barbecue, or to hop on the bus to get wherever they need to go that day. Colfax carries the lifeblood of our community, and too often Colfax has broken our hearts because it is not designed to be safe for the people whose lives depend on it. I like to hold up the West Colfax community as a model for the success and the power of persistent community advocacy for safer streets. It was 10 years ago that we partnered with the West Colfax Business Improvement District and community members to crowdsource data about the pedestrian conditions on Colfax and really tell the story about why is Colfax so wicked for people who are walking. It was 9 years ago that we again partnered with the BID and the community to organize the Reimagine West Colfax pop-up demonstration project to show what a redesigned street could look like, and found overwhelming community support for designs that prioritize people moving outside of cars. It was 7 years ago when voters approved millions of dollars to transform that vision for a safer street into reality. It was 4 years ago that we again gathered with the community to install a ghost wheelchair on West Colfax to honor the life of Tim Campbell, one of just many people who have been killed just trying to get from one side of the street to the other. And it was just earlier this year where once again the community rallied to make sure that the final project included not just safety improvements, but the greenery improvements that are so desperately needed on this side of Denver. And today, we are finally celebrating the groundbreaking of the transformation of Colfax into a truly people-friendly street. This project is proof that if the community can imagine a street that prioritizes people over cars, the city can make that happen. And I hope this project becomes inspiration for transformations of other streets throughout the city, and that we learn from this process so that we can streamline it and we don't have to wait 10 years for the next transformation to happen. I want to thank all of the community members, our elected leaders, the West Colfax Business Improvement District, the staff at the state and the city for bringing us here today, because today is definitely a day worth celebrating. And I believe it's time for us to break some ground.
Hold it up. Jason, you want to give us the countdown?
I got you.
1, 2, 3, then throw.
Yep.
Not on 3.
Not on all